Welcome to the Retirement Blueprint Show. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Tim Lofton, and Tim is the CEO of the Retire Blueprint. Tim, how are you today?
I'm great, Cynthia. Thanks.
It's always good to see you. Thank you for always taking the time to come in and do the shows, because I know that life has been so busy for you. Obviously, the success that you're having with the television shows, but also you have 2 new additions in your household. Let's talk about that.
We do. We do. As if 3 kids was not enough,
right?
We now have 2 puppies, and they are so much fun. We had a boxer for 13 and a half years, and she passed away a few months ago.
I'm sorry.
And so we replaced them with 2 new puppies at the same time, which was an interesting idea, but we wanted to have a rescue dog, and we wanted another boxer, and so we did both, and we're having a great time.
I love that. Well, Tim, what I love about you is that you always say, it's the perfect time for that.
Yeah.
So why not get 2 puppies at once?
Right.
It's the perfect time for that.
Exactly.
Well, Tim, you have been in the industry 27 years, and I can't believe that, because you don't look old enough to be in any industry 27 years. But what are the biggest concerns that you're seeing right now with your clients as they're approaching retirement?
I don't know if it's clients, but I would say prospects. When they first come in to see us, in simple words, health and wealth.
Okay.
That really is the essence of it. If you have money but you don't have good health, then it doesn't do you any good, because you can't live unhealthy no matter how much money you have. Money can't fix your health. And if you have great health and no money, that doesn't really work out either. And so having that balance has really been kind of the key factor, I think, when we see successful retirements versus unsuccessful retirements. That really having that balance has been a key component.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about why people are living longer, if you will, Tim. Obviously, we're taking better care of ourselves, right? So when you are exercising and you're eating healthy, you're living longer. How can that factor into your retirement years?
Well, it factors in a big way. I think from a retirement planning standpoint, one of the things that really is left out of so many advisor plans is a health plan. And I don't mean health insurance or Medicare, but actually, what are you going to do to take care of yourself? What are you going to do to make healthy lifestyle choices? You know, a lot of times that happens. Somebody has a heart attack, or they go through something traumatic, then they start exercising, or they start eating right. And one of the things that we really are a big proponent of is, why wait for something horrible to happen before you make those lifestyle changes? You've worked all your life, you've saved all this money. Don't you want to enjoy it? And more importantly, don't you want to be able to spend it with the ones you love?
Sure.
You know, being able to see your grandkids grow up and get married and all of those things. Medical advancement has come such a long way. Cynthia, I know you know this. When Social Security first came out, 65 years old was the age that you could claim it.
Okay.
You know what the life expectancy was?
I would say 80, 82?
64.
No, you're kidding me.
It made for a really good plan, because if
Wow.
if 64 is when you die and 65 is when you collect, Social Security wasn't having any issues with going broke.
Oh my gosh.
Now we hear all the time about how Social Security is underfunded, and that's because if you look at an average married couple, one's going to live to be 94 years old. So we've seen, literally since Social Security started, 30 years average life expectancy change.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
But it doesn't do you any good if you're not healthy.
Absolutely. Tim, let me ask you as well, when you're factoring in someone's blueprint, because we've talked about this in a prior show, how important is the healthcare planning piece? Well,
you know, healthcare is the second largest expense when we look at retirement planning. and it's not really the cost of Medicare and the supplement, or if somebody went with the Advantage plan, that cost is pretty affordable and really good coverage, by the way. For those viewers that have Medicare, I'm sure you've experienced, you go to the hospital and you get a bill and you're like, oh my gosh, like it was all covered. I mean, it really is an amazing healthcare plan that we have in this country. The real unknown is sometimes somebody retires early, and so let's say that they retire at age 60, but they still have 5 years to go until they can claim Medicare. That period can get pretty expensive, and that's something that has to be priced into their plan. The other area, of course, is long-term care, a nursing home stay, or an over 55 community. You know, it's funny, here in Ohio, we talk about, you know, an over 55 community. People immediately say nursing homes and have a very negative thought process. But in Florida, there's waiting lists to get into a 55 and over community.
They're fun.
They're fun.
There's a lot to do.
So much to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an entire lifestyle. And so I think for that planning piece, if an over 55 community is in the cards for you, you have to plan, because the expense is a lot higher a lot of times than, you know, a traditional, I'm going to live in my house and, you know, they're going to roll me out of here someday.
Sure. And also, I'm sure we've talked about this, of course, with Ohio communities, but the one level living is so much easier for people that are approaching the retirement years, and a great way to pick up a new hobby like pickleball. Are you playing pickleball? Because I've not played it yet.
I have played pickleball for the first time last spring break with the kids. I'm an avid tennis player. I love tennis. Big shout out to South Regency Tennis Center. But I love tennis. I loved pickleball. I thought it was a lot of fun, but I've not actually gotten to play since the one time that I tried it.
Absolutely. Well, I love how this all fits into the retirement plan, because obviously life begins again when you hit the retirement years, Tim, and that's what you're so good about, is designing that blueprint so that someone can enjoy every aspect of their life during the retirement years. This is a great time for us to go ahead and open up the phone lines to the viewers at home. Would you agree? Let's give them that opportunity. All right, that sounds great. To the viewers at home, there's a phone number to call on your screen. That number is 855-684-3485. What Tim is offering you today is the opportunity to come in, sit with him, and have a blueprint designed for your retirement. Let's take a look at what your dreams are, your hopes, your goals. What are they? Tim can make sure that you can actually have the retirement that fits those needs. And again, he's also offering you the Riskalyze report. Very important to know, how much risk are you currently taking? Tim can help determine that as well. This opportunity is available to the first 10 callers only today. That number is 855-684-3485. Don't turn the channel. When we come back, we're going to have so much more, and even maybe Tim will play pickleball for us. We'll be right back.
As you prepare for, transition into, and navigate retirement, there's one thing you're sure to have: questions. Lots of questions about retirement. Like, when can I retire? Will I run out of money? Who pays for nursing home care? And many, many more.
We use the Beta Blueprint retirement planning software to help answer your questions.
This program takes stacks of documents from every area of your financial life and converts them into one large picture. Just as you would never buy a house without seeing it first, why would you ever retire without being able to visualize it? By being able to see the whole picture, you can then make better decisions about your retirement. First, the blueprint looks at your top goals and concerns. Then, we look at your age and the trigger age decisions you have to make, like when to take Social Security, Medicare, and required minimum distributions. Next, we analyze your fixed income streams and compare that to your retirement lifestyle. For most people, their lifestyle exceeds their income, so we determine which assets to tap to make up the difference. When looking at assets, there are 3 key numbers we want you to know. The first number is the risk score of what you own. Every investor has a risk tolerance, and every investment has a risk score. The risk scale runs from 1 to 99, and the S&P 500 has a score of 78. We use a scientific framework that won the Nobel Prize for Economics for its ability to identify true risk tolerance. If you were taking too much risk, when would you want to know? The second number we want to know is the maximum drawdown of what you own. Maximum drawdown is the maximum loss from a market peak to a market trough. The maximum drawdown of the S&P 500 in 2008 was about 51%. What was the maximum drawdown of what you own? And the third number is your annual withdrawal rate percent. If you're taking too much here, you could run out of money. Finally, we look at your insurance and long-term care. Do you have life insurance? If so, what type, and does it expire? We analyze the income reduction from losing a spouse. We want to know if the surviving spouse will be protected. Have you planned for long-term care? Do you know all your health care options? Being able to put all this information in picture format is like watching holistic planning come to life. Your financial picture helps us identify the potential cracks and red flags in your overall retirement plan. Remember, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Discover the power of the picture for your retirement. Learn how to get a blueprint of your life.
And welcome back to the Retirement Blueprint Show. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Tim Lofton. He's the CEO of the Retire Blueprint. Tim, a great first segment we had, and obviously the whole commercial break we spent talking about pickleball, which was fantastic. But I want to also ask you a little bit about the Riskalyze report that you run, of course, because we're offering that to the viewers at home. So the question I have is, how does your team address things like the risk and the asset allocation, if you will?
That's a great question, Cynthia. The biggest, I think, confusion behind risk is that when people go from pre-retirement to post-retirement, they're making a major change. And I know that sounds obvious, but when folks come into the office and our wealth management team sits down with them and looks at their portfolio, there's not been any change at all. It's as if they saved, they got to retirement and then they just called their advisor and said, okay, send me a check once a month. And there was really not an actual shift. And if you think about pre-retirement and post-retirement, they're very different.
Sure.
I mean,
that makes sense.
Pre-retirement is, I save X amount of dollars for X number of years, I end up with X amount of money, and I basically know all the different things that I need to know for that period of time. I don't have any unknowns at all, really. When you look at post-retirement, we don't have answers for anything. We don't know how long we're going to live. We don't know how our health is going to be. We don't know what the economy is going to do. If we're wrong in pre-retirement, our worst case scenario is we work a few more years. We spend, a little bit more time saving, and we get through that whatever economic crisis it is, and then we retire. When we're post-retirement, we don't have a paycheck coming in anymore. So understanding where we're trying to get to is super important from a risk standpoint.
Sure.
That has to be adjusted. And so one of the things that our wealth management team looks closely at within that Riskalyze report is the money that you need to take income from or actually withdraw really has to have very low or no volatility attached to it.
Okay.
The dollars that you don't need to take income from, however, the volatility doesn't seem to be as big a thing. Of course, that's the investment piece isn't my expertise, but the wealth management team, I've sat through this now for 27 years.
Right.
They really do a great job of making sure that people own the right things in the right amounts, and that diversification is appropriate for each plan.
Tim, I want to ask you as well, how important is it for someone to be working with an advisor that specializes in the distribution phase of life versus the accumulation phase of life, if you will?
Well, something that I don't think a lot of our viewers probably know, 95% of advisors really are a pre-retirement advisor. They are there to help you grow your money. You give them money, you invest on a monthly basis or whatever the scenario might be, and they're helping you grow it from point A to point B to get to retirement. When you get to retirement, only about 3 to 5% of advisors actually focus on a retirement-only business. And of course, that's what we do. That's all that we do. We only work with retirees or folks that are approaching retirement. And the reason is that area of planning is so overlooked.
That makes sense. Let's talk a little bit about what we're offering the viewers today, the Riskalyze report.
Sure.
How does that work for someone, in case they're wondering in the viewing audience what that means?
Well, it's really a pretty simple process from the person that's coming into our office point of view. All that we do is you're going to provide the wealth management team basically a copy of your statements. They're going to take the information on those statements, input it into the Riskalyze program, which won the Nobel Prize for Economics, by the way.
Nice.
Cynthia.
Okay, that's great.
The software then will analyze that information, and it'll give us a lot of really good feedback. It lets us know when you look at past times where things were really bad, like 2008, for example, when the market had that big correction. You can see exactly how your portfolio today did during that period of time. It'll also look at a good period of time, and you kind of compare the two, and it'll compare it to the S&P 500. It gives you an opportunity to really see side-by-side comparison of what you own today and what you could expect potentially in the future if the past repeated itself.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Well, Tim, let me ask you, what is your communication style like with your clients, in case they're wondering what it's going to feel like? Because I know the phone lines went crazy with our first commercial break, and they will with this one as well.
Well, communication, we actually have a form that our clients fill out when they first come on board with us that tells us how they want to be communicated with, and that's really been a key. And that came from that form from an 80-year-old client who wanted to be communicated with by text.
By text?
By text.
That's so
no
cool.
idea. And so we then sat back and said, well, if she wants to be communicated with this way, how many other people want to be communicated with in a way that we're not normally communicating with them?
Sure.
And so, we have a couple of younger people in the office, and they're very tech savvy, and so texting, and we communicate by video sometimes with the Zoom conferences. Sometimes it's in the office, sometimes it's by phone. The key is that it really depends what we're talking about as to how we're communicating. If we're talking about planning or something important, we like to do it face-to-face in the office, and we like to be able to put things up on the screen where people can really see it.
Okay.
However, with things being the way that they have been with COVID, if someone doesn't feel comfortable with that scenario, we are able to communicate with them via video conferencing, and they can do it right from their house. But none of that happens if they don't pick up the phone and call.
Absolutely.
And that's the bottom line is if there is something that we're talking about today that you don't feel you're prepared for in retirement, this is your opportunity to take time out of your day, pick up the phone and call us. We're happy to help. That's what we're here for.
Well, Tim, this is the perfect time for us to open up the phone lines to the viewers at home.
Okay.
To the viewers at home, the phone lines are once again now open. That number to call is 855-684-3485. What you're calling in for today is the complimentary retirement blueprint. Let Tim take a look at where you currently are with your retirement goals and dreams. And is it the right plan for you? Tim can make sure that you have the right plan that suits all of your needs. And again, that number to call is 855-684-3485. We have to take a very short commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to have so much more about how to plan your perfect retirement. Please stay tuned.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place and then help determine if you're well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, we can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision, so why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you're getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
And welcome back to the Retirement Blueprint Show. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Tim Lofton. He is the CEO of the Retire Blueprint. Tim, a great show that we're having today, obviously talking about the importance of properly planning for retirement. And we have a viewer question that came in, so I definitely want to tackle this one. It's from Stephen, and he's calling in from Lima. He says, Tim, I would like to know more about fees. How do they impact performance over time with a portfolio?
Well, that is a great question. I will say kind of a two-part answer here. The first thing that I would say is that we live in a consumer economy where people they're so focused on cost, and a lot of times we're looking for waiting for an item to go on sale, and but there's some things that we don't really check prices on. We don't check prices on our doctor, who is the best heart surgeon. We just go to them. And whatever the cost is, it is.
That's true.
And I would say that investing and retirement planning should kind of fall into that category.
Sure.
Having said that, one of the examples that we give clients all the time is if you had two portfolios, and one portfolio went up $20,000 but cost you 2% a year, and one portfolio went up 5% but didn't cost you anything, which one would you want?
Exactly.
But I think a lot of times when you see people from a investment standpoint, they want to go to the cheapest option. For example, the S&P 500 costs you literally nothing to own, or almost nothing. And that may feel really good. You look at, a Vanguard, for example, and that's a well-respected name, but it doesn't matter the name, it matters what you own, and what you own is the index.
Sure.
So if the index goes down 40% like it did in 2008, your account goes down 40% like it did in 2008 because it's not managed. So if it's not managed, it's a lot less expensive. The question is, in retirement, is that risk appropriate? And it may be. But when you let cost drive those decisions, a lot of times people end up with the wrong things for the wrong reasons.
Sure.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit more about that, Tim. How important is it for someone to have a second opinion? If they're currently at home and perhaps they're working with an advisor, how important is it to have a fresh opinion from a new set of eyes, if you will?
I think a second opinion is a no-brainer. When you retire, you become the CEO of your retirement company. And so every person that you hire to work for you, your CPA, your estate planning attorney, your retirement planner, your financial services company, all of those people work for you. And just like in any other type of business, you want to make sure that the success of your retirement is based on the very best advice. And there's really no way to know for sure that you're getting that without getting a second opinion. It doesn't cost anything, but if you have the best advice already, and somebody can, tell you that, and we have that conversation, Cynthia, where people will come in and we look at, and we're like, you know what, you really are good. There's really not any value that we could add to this situation. And I will tell you, some of those meetings are the best meetings.
I'm sure.
Because people, they're like, oh my gosh, like that's so great that, you know, that's what I thought, but I just wanted to check.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of times that people come in and that's not the case. And it's usually things that they just didn't know.
Okay.
Maybe they're taking a lot more risk than they thought they were, or they were taking income from the wrong account and paying a lot more taxes than they really needed to,
Okay.
or that nobody actually told them from an estate planning standpoint, you should do this instead of that. We've had, just in the last few weeks with people that have come in, so many people that have come in and said, well, we talked to an attorney and they said we didn't need a trust. And we're looking at it, and our estate planning attorney is like, they absolutely need a trust. Why wouldn't they have a trust? But they were told by somebody who went to law school that they didn't need that. And so, you know, one of the things that we talk to people about all the time is make sure that the folks that you're working with specialize in the area that they're giving you advice. A lot of times attorneys are really, really good at a lot of things. We want them to pick an attorney that's only doing estate planning, that they specialize in that area of law. Same thing with the CPA. We want that tax planning to come from an expert, a fiduciary that's actually trained in that area, not just anyone.
Sure. That makes perfect sense. You had a caller from Lebanon, and he wants to know, Tim, I'm 5 years away from retirement. What should I be doing today?
Picking up the phone and calling us.
Perfect.
That is, Cynthia, that's our
Perfect.
sweet spot.
Yeah.
If we can see somebody 5 years before retirement, we can put together an amazing plan because we have a little bit of time left to do those last final tweaks, get them into retirement, and then, you know, do life with them through retirement from there.
Sure. And how does that change if someone's 10 years away from retirement, Tim? What does that look like?
It's just a different conversation.
Okay.
It's a different set of concerns because they're still kind of in that saving mode.
Yeah.
However, they've saved most of what they need to that point. So now it becomes sometimes where our wealth management team can really have a big impact in that last few years of making sure that they're getting the most out of that 10-year growth cycle into retirement.
Okay, so again, it all comes down to having that well-designed plan in place, one that is a living, breathing organism that can be changed as situations change for your clients.
That's exactly right.
Well, Tim, I can't believe we're almost to the end of another amazing show this week, and I love the viewer questions that keep coming in, so thank you for being here again. I appreciate that. To the viewers at home, thank you for spending time with us again this week. We know you have a lot of questions about how to retire comfortably. Tim is offering you the Retirement Blueprint. All you have to do is pick up the phone, 855-684-3485. Please keep the questions coming. We look forward to seeing you next week. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed.